Long-haul flying. Everyone loves the excitement of heading off to a wonderful exotic destination. However, the cost can often hold us back. But there's another way. Let me show you. Good morning and welcome to London Luton Airport, the UK home of budget airline Wizz Air. And today I'm planning to see if that long-haul trip to warmer climates is achievable on a shoestring budget. What are we waiting for? Let's do it. Today we're thrift flying with low-cost airline Wizz Air, aiming to reach a destination far cheaper than most other travellers. Our journey will cost less than half of what a regular economy ticket would and will take us over 3,000 miles to the city of Abu Dhabi in the United Arab Emirates, a favourite spot for winter sun. But the big question is, will the thrifty savings justify the painful experience of flying with a budget airline? Wizz Air doesn't fly directly to the UAE, so the trip is split into two legs. Firstly, we'll fly from London Luton to Tirana in Albania, and after a short stop, we'll continue from Albania to Abu Dhabi. Since Wizz Air is a budget airline, the flights are booked separately, which might cause some problems when changing planes. So we'll see how that works and if there are any issues because of it. Welcome aboard the rather uninspiring Wizz Air A321neo. The cabin is bland, soulless and cramped, with rows of tightly packed seats that make it feel even smaller when it's full. There's hardly any space to move, and as expected with a budget airline, there aren't many extras, just a tray table and a seat back pocket. Wizz Air was recently rated the worst airline to fly with from the UK, and as I sat down, I realised this might be a long day, one I was already starting to regret. Similar to most airports used by budget airlines, London Luton is small, busy and chaotic, meaning many passengers were late in boarding. This resulted in a delayed pushback which was compounded by air traffic control restrictions, meaning we had to sit at a remote stand until we were allowed to depart. Finally, we were on our way heading for runway 07, where we took off 27 minutes later than planned. Stay tuned as our long-haul adventure becomes more hectic and stressful, and later we'll find out exactly how long the trip took and, most importantly, how much it cost. So, with nothing to do, I thought I'd pass the next 3 hours by looking out of the window. About an hour into the flight, the crew began their service, and in typical budget airline fashion, much of the menu wasn't available. Somehow I ended up with a cheese roll, a coffee and a chocolate bar that came as part of a meal deal. Unfortunately, everything was so unappetising that I left most of it untouched, and for me to leave food, it has to be truly bad. How do you even mess up a cheese roll? After what felt like an eternity, we were nearing Albania and the end of leg one, only to be met with more news of delays. Some bad news, unfortunately. Due to bad weather over Tirana, we've been put into a holding pattern for about 25 minutes, 100 miles from the airfield. I'm hoping this isn't going to take a long time, or even get diverted, because we've got some connecting flights to make. Please don't get diverted. It was this storm cell over the Albanian capital that was stopping flights from landing, and at this point I was starting to get quite concerned that we would be diverted. This does, however, raise the most important issue that you can face when using budget airlines for multiple connecting flights. You see, if a flight is diverted, a legacy airline will generally make arrangements to help you get to your destination. But by using a budget airline, you are effectively self-connecting between flights on different bookings. So if you're diverted or badly delayed, you're on your own. Your next flight will leave, you will get no refund, and you will have to book another flight to your destination. After more laps than Lewis Hamilton, we made our descent into a very wet Tirana. I breathed a sigh of relief that there was no diversions and sat back thinking my luck had changed. Spoiler alert, it hadn't. Yay, leg one completed. But in true budget airline style, it couldn't end without some sort of airline airport crap customer care combo. So here it is. After being made to sit in the dark for 20 minutes waiting for terminal buses, Wizz Air decided they needed their plane back and made everyone walk to the terminal building in the pouring rain. Welcome to Albania, everyone. But don't go anywhere, as next up we continue our thrift flight down to Abu Dhabi with leg 2. Wow, I've made it. Stage 1 of the journey complete. I'm here in Albania. Now, Tirana Airport doesn't have the functionality for digital boarding passes, so it means I've got to go to the Wizz Air check-in desk to get my onward boarding pass for my onward journey. Unfortunately, that means there's no kind of transit, so I have to come out of the building and go back in as though I'm departing fresh. So I'm going to get my skates on and hurry up, just in case it's a bit hectic and a bit busy. I'll see you on the other side of security. Through security. Wow, Tirana, man, it's an old school airport. Queuing for the check-ins and queuing for security, but it all seems to work really well. I'm through quite quickly, so I'm going to grab a bit of food and then we start leg 2 down to Abu Dhabi. Whilst wandering around the airport, I noticed my aircraft arriving out of the gloom, so that meant it was time for me to head down to the gate to board my second A321 of the day. When I arrived, it was pure chaos with people desperately trying to leave the terminal. The Wizz Air staff managed to restore some order, letting priority boarders through the crowd. Cue crap customer care combo number 2, and this one is my biggest gripe. Budget airlines, in their rush to get back in the air, start boarding long before the plane is ready. This leaves passengers, usually the priority boarders, standing and waiting, often in uncomfortable conditions. In this case, we were herded into a small pen outside the gate, where rain poured in under the roof. People were literally paying to stand in the rain. After what seemed like the longest wait ever, the buses were once again blamed and we began our second rain march out to the waiting aircraft. But by this time it really didn't matter, as the priority boarders were soaked already. Welcome aboard the second Wizz Air A321. This aircraft is 4 years old and it's exactly the same inside as the previous flight. The seats are about as comfortable as park benches, the cabin is still cramped, plain and boring, and, well, you get the idea. The weather in Tirana today was absolutely atrocious, which is obviously out of the airline's control, and the crews on both flights dealt with the situation very well. The rain certainly added to the carnage, but it further delayed our departure. Eventually though, there was a break in the weather and we headed out to runway 17 for takeoff, 1 hour and 45 minutes later than scheduled. Not long after takeoff, the crew began the refreshment service, and learning my lesson from the previous flight, I ordered tea and water and snacked on crisps purchased at the airport. As the light faded, so did my in-flight entertainment, which turned the experience into an involuntary session of raw dogging as I simply stared at the seat in front of me. The crew did dim the lights, but there was no chance of sleeping in these seats. Today's thrift flight exposed every facet of flying with a low-cost airline. It highlights the chaos, the common delays, the atrocious food, the lack of customer care, the uncomfortable aircraft, and also gave us a warning that connecting between two budget airlines can be risky. However, all of this is superseded by one thing. Yep, the cost. Today's trip cost me £215 in total, which works out at an incredible 7 pence per mile. And comparing that to Etihad or BA economy tickets, it's a saving of over 50%, which is massive. For those of you that have seen my other low-cost airline reviews, you will know that I'm really not a fan of how their business model puts cost-cutting over customer experience. However, I am fully aware how important they are, as they allow everyone to fly and experience wonderful places that previous generations never could. Both flights I was on today were completely full, showing there is a market and it is thriving. If you're prepared to put the time and effort into travelling, you can reach some incredible places for some thrifty prices. We touched down in the UAE at 20 to 1 in the morning local time, and the total time of today's journey from wheels up in Luton to landing in Abu Dhabi was 13 hours 24 minutes. That's nearly double the time of direct flights, but it's also double the savings, which is a big appeal to so many people. So I have to ask you this. Would you use a budget airline to travel long haul? Let me know what you think. Thank you very much for watching, and remember, embrace the journey.